One of the hardest parts of parenting a child with emotional dysregulation, ADHD, DMDD, autism, anxiety, sensory needs, or even those challenging behaviors is not always the behavior itself. Sometimes the hardest part is the loneliness. It's sitting at church, family gatherings, school events, or even in a room full of people and still feeling like no one really understands the world you're carrying inside. It's watching other families do things that feel simple for them while you're mentally calculating whether your family could ever pull it off with your child's needs, wiring, and daily struggles. Today, we're talking about why loneliness or isolation makes parenting feel heavier, why safe support can change things, and why being with other parents who truly get it can bring a kind of relief you may not even have realized that you need. Ever feel like one meltdown turns your day upside down? Are you walking on eggshells with emotions and challenging behaviors? Need peace in your home? You're in the right place. I'm Jami, mom of 7, professional counselor and parent coach. I've learned how to turn chaos into calm, stop meltdowns, and enjoy time as a family. If you're looking for effective tools, practical ways to connect with your uniquely wired child, and parenting tools that align with faith and family values, you've found it. So reheat that coffee, start that laundry fluffing again, and let's jump in. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about something every parent needs, but many quietly go without: safe, understanding support. And I don't just mean advice. I don't mean one more person giving you a book recommendation, a discipline strategy, or a comment that starts with, well, maybe if you, or have you tried? I'm talking about the kind of support that helps you truly exhale, the kind where you don't have to explain every detail, the kind where you can say one honest sentence and another mom nods because she knows, she gets it. Maybe her story is different, but she understands the weight of yours. Loneliness in parenting is very real. Even in typical parenting struggles, it's easy to start feeling alone. But when you add the challenges that come with parenting a high needs child or a child with emotional dysregulation, challenging behaviors, neurodivergent wiring, that loneliness can quickly become isolation. I remember feeling this so deeply in one of our hardest seasons of parenting our high needs child. Even when I was with people, even when I was trying to just be out and about doing things, I was internally consumed with what was happening in our home. I was thinking about our daily struggles, my child's needs, the frustrations of the day, and even the fear of what the future might look like if things didn't improve. So even if I was physically present with people, my internal world felt very isolated. I was thinking, planning, problem solving, dreading, replaying, and carrying so much that most people just couldn't see. And truthfully, those feelings of loneliness could feel consuming at times. I realized that even some of the people who really loved us and were closest to us had no idea what we were really carrying and living. And that kind of loneliness can show up in 2 ways that we're going to talk about today. It can show up when you're surrounded by people, but still feel unseen. And it can show up when you're sitting at home, missing out on all the other things that families are doing, that other moms are enjoying, other couples are attending, because you know that with your child's needs, wiring, or current struggles, you could never pull it off. And truly, both forms can feel painful. The first thing I want to talk about today is this: isolation makes parenting challenges feel more personal and more permanent. When you are alone with a hard situation for too long, your mind starts telling you a story about it. It may sound like this is only happening to us, or other parents would know how to handle this better. It may be, maybe I'm the problem. It may be, things are never going to change. And when you don't have safe people around you to help bring perspective, those thoughts can get so loud in your head. That is one reason isolation is so heavy. It shrinks your view. It makes one hard day feel like your whole life. It makes one meltdown feel like proof that you're failing. It might make one school meeting feel like nothing is ever going to work. And it might make one rough morning feel like you're always behind, always messing up, always one step away from falling apart. And I think parents can feel isolated for several reasons. Sometimes it might be because they feel judged by extended family, school staff, close friends, or even people who kind of fill those roles of the typical support people. Sometimes it's because they've taken a risk to open up, but they might be met with harsh advice, criticism, judgment, or a response that was just not well informed or empathetic. And when that happens, it can make a lonely parent pull even further into that protective shell. Because now it does not just feel lonely, it feels like another failure. And that was the last thing this parent needed. Sometimes isolation happens inside our home too. Couples or co-parents may be at different levels of acceptance, understanding, or involvement. One parent may be doing all the reading, researching, adapting, and seeing the child's needs more clearly, while the other is still thinking, this is just a discipline issue, or they just need to learn, or they just need to try harder. And that can make the parent who sees the deeper need or the wiring differences feel even more alone. And then you add exhaustion. The exhaustion of just being on all the time. It can feel like you're on 24/7. The exhaustion of scanning for triggers, managing meltdowns, explaining your child, advocating with the school, trying to keep siblings okay, and doing the emotional math every day, trying to understand where their body budget is and how much they can tolerate or what might work and what won't. And when you're tired, when you're that tired, even momentary loneliness can start to feel like full-blown isolation. But support changes the story. When you hear another mom say, we're having mornings like that too, something shifts. When someone says, I used to think my child was just being difficult, but then I started noticing the sensory piece, something softens. When another parent says, we left early too, or we stopped going to that event for a season, or even I cried in the car after that meeting, you begin to realize maybe it's not just us. And suddenly, you're not on an island anymore. Things can be different. You begin to see the journey. The second thing that I want you to know is that safe support helps parents feel seen instead of judged. And I want to be very clear about the word safe. Not every group is safe. Not every conversation is helpful. And not every person has earned access to the tender parts of your story. Safe support is not the person who immediately jumps in with advice or a lecture. It's not the person who assumes they know exactly what you should do after hearing just one small part of the story. And it's not the person who says, well, I would never let my child act that way, or you just need to be more consistent, or even all kids do that, or he knows exactly what he's doing. Those responses oftentimes come from people who mean well, but they can hurt. They can make a parent feel more alone, more ashamed, and less likely to reach out the next time. Safe support looks different. Safe support is people who are willing to listen, people who are ready to learn or understand better, people who can suspend judgment long enough to trust that you're trying, learning, and doing what's best for your child, even if it looks different. Safe support validates the struggle before trying to solve the problem. It does not necessarily mean everyone agrees on every decision, but it does mean there's care, humility, and a desire to try and understand. Safe support responds with, "That sounds really hard." It says, "I can see why you're exhausted." It says, "You're not crazy for feeling overwhelmed." It says, "I might not fully understand, but I'm trying to, or I want to." And if you ask for ideas, safe support may offer what has helped them, but not in a way that makes you feel judged or small. This is what I've seen happen in many online support groups. Parents share openly about really tough situations. And in the right and safe group, others respond with care and understanding. Sometimes they offer things they've tried if the parent asks for help. Sometimes they share what they wish they had done differently. Sometimes they simply say, "Yeah, we've been there too." That kind of support can be so powerful. I run a weekly support group for parents, and over, parents are genuinely grateful for a place where they can open up, talk freely, and feel seen and understood. I can tell you, sometimes there's even tears there, but it's a safe place for those, because it's not that we're out to solve every problem in one conversation or solve all problems ever. It's because being seen matters, being heard matters, knowing you're not the only one matters. And that support does not only matter for parents. Sometimes our other family members, even our other children, may feel that same sense of isolation. I remember discovering this one night as I tucked one of our younger children into bed. I mentioned something to the effect of, another parent in this group I'm in said, and he stopped me. He said, "What do you mean?" I explained that I was in an online support group and that other parents shared about some of the same kinds of issues that we were navigating. He still was not quite understanding. So I said, "Wait a minute." I went and got my phone and I pulled up the group and quickly scrolled through the posts and comments. And as the screen kept scrolling and rolling, his eyes got wider and wider and his jaw seriously dropped open. And he said, "What? You mean there are other families going through this too?" I thought it was just us. Honestly, that still chokes me up a little bit, because in that moment, I realized that the same sense of isolation I had felt was part of his world too. And it made me sad because I realized that I didn't know he was carrying that load. But it also made me grateful because now I did know how to help him feel more seen, more understood, and less alone in our family's journey. Because we know it's not just the high-need child that's going through this. It's the entire family. And that is what safe support can do. It helps us realize this is not just our family. We are not the only ones walking through something difficult like this. The third thing I want to talk about is this. Encouragement from other parents can restore hope and perspective. When you're in the middle of a hard season, it can be so difficult to see beyond what is right in front of you. If bedtime has been hard for months, it can feel like bedtime will always be hard. If school has been a struggle, it can feel like school will continue to be a struggle. If your child is melting down often, it can feel like nothing is working. If you're exhausted, it can feel like you'll never feel like yourself again. And that is why encouragement matters. And I don't mean that shallow encouragement. I don't mean someone tossing out a cheerful, "You've got this," when you feel like you actually do not have it at all. I mean grounded, sincere encouragement, the kind that says, "This is hard and you're not alone." The kind that says, "There may be something more going on underneath this behavior." The kind that says, "Let's look at what your child needs and what you need too." The kind that says, "You can learn new tools, effective tools." The kind that says, "Your family can grow through this." The kind that says, "This season matters, but it's not the whole story." When you hear a parent share an experience that sounds even harder than yours, it can make it easier for you to open up. When you hear a parent who is new to the journey, you remember being there and maybe even see that you've grown a little bit in the process. When you hear a parent share a success story, it gives you hope that progress is possible. All of a sudden, you start to see the journey instead of just the island. And I'm going to say that again because it feels so important. All of a sudden, you start to see the journey instead of just the island. That matters because this level of parenting can feel like a whole new level of parenting. And admittedly, it often requires a whole new set of tools. So many of the tools I have used with our high needs child were tools I never needed in the same way with our other 6 children. That doesn't mean I had no parenting experience. It means this child, this wiring, this season, and this journey required something different. And it took being in support groups, talking with other parents who got it, learning from other parents, and hearing other stories to realize what those differences might be, what was working for other kids, and what options I might want to learn more about or give a try. That is one of the things I want you to understand. Needing support does not mean you're not good enough on your own. It actually means you're wise enough to find what helps you parent best for this journey. And this journey may look very different from another child in your home, another family in your church, another mom in your community, or even what worked for you with this child in a previous season. Needing support doesn't mean you're failing. In many ways, it means the opposite. It means you are one of the parents that are devoted and committed, choosing to grow and learn. You're choosing to better understand your child and strengthen your family. This parenting journey was never meant to be done alone. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I created the Mom's Retreat, Calm Connection Parenting's first Mom's Retreat. It is finding your calm in the chaos. I wanted it to be a safe place where moms could come and share openly, hear other families' stories, learn about those different approaches and tools, and develop connection with others who truly get it. A safe support, a place where you're not judged but seen, a place where you can rest and not feel like you have to be on, polished, or perfect. A place where you can receive this genuine encouragement that is truly heartfelt and develop that small circle of women who on a hard day will truly understand what you're going through. This retreat is happening August 27th through the 31st in Loveland, Colorado. That's right. You arrive on Thursday night. We have Friday, Saturday, Sunday with activities planned, and you leave first thing Monday morning. It is intentionally small and personal because I want moms to feel known, seen, and not lost in a crowd. Registration includes lodging, meals, and activity costs, so you don't even have to figure out all the little details. And I'll tell you this, we're going to have some really fun snacks and special drinks. Early bird pricing, payment plans, and scholarship applications are available. There are a few spots still open, and early bird pricing may be ending soon, so you're going to want to act fast. And right now, I'm also offering a special. If you invite a friend who registers for the retreat, you can receive $100 off your own registration fee. Because sometimes stepping into support with a friend can make it feel even more meaningful. You can get on the same page together. You can learn more, apply for a possible scholarship, or register at calmconnectionparent.com/retreat 2026. So let's bring this into a quick win for the week. This week, I want you to take one small step toward connection. Not a huge step, not a dramatic step, just one small step. I encourage you to join the Calm Connection parenting group if you're not already there. Comment on one post, even if it feels small or insignificant. And if you've already joined, just go ahead and skip to making that comment. You might answer a question, share a thought, maybe even pose a question. Send a message to one safe person. Tell someone, this has felt heavier than I expected. Or ask another mom, have you ever felt this way too? Connection often starts with one brave little sentence. You don't have to tell everyone everything. You don't have to open up to people who have not shown themselves to be safe. But you do need support. And sometimes the first step is simply letting one safe space see a little more of your world. As we wrap up today, I want you to remember this. Isolation makes parenting challenges feel more personal and permanent. Safe support helps you feel seen instead of judged. And encouragement from other parents can help restore your hope and perspective. You are never created to parent alone. Needing support does not mean you're failing. It means you're human. It means this road is heavy enough that you were never meant to walk it without encouragement, wisdom, and people who can remind you of hope when you forget. So take that one small step toward connection. And if your heart is saying, I need to be in a room with moms who get it, I would love to invite you again to that mom's retreat. It is well, finding your calm in the chaos. There's still a few spots open and waiting for you. Early bird pricing can end soon, so you're going to want to learn more at calmconnectionparent.com/retreat 2026. Until next time, remember, you are not on an island. You're on a journey, and there are other parents walking it too. Find your people, take that next small step, and keep looking for that calm in the chaos. That's it for today. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you take a quick minute to follow and share it with a friend who's looking for tools to parent those big emotions? And don't forget to join the Calm Connection Parenting Facebook group. This is where I can connect with you and offer support as you walk this journey. All right, I'll let you decide whether to fluff or fold that laundry now. But I'll meet you back here next week. Until then, keep calm and parent on.